What is up, Ninja here with Tony Farmer, and welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to be breaking down how you can win your NFL Survivor Pool. Tony is very much the Survivor Pool expert here at OddsShark. But Tony, for those that maybe do not know, why don't you explain what a Survivor Pool is?
It's a year-long contest throughout the NFL regular season. You need to pick one winner every week, not against the spread, just straight up. But here's the big wrinkle. You can't pick a team more than once. So you've got to strategize a little bit and leave some good teams toward the end. And in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about that strategy. And I'm going to share with you guys some of my favorite Survivor Pool tools.
So talk to me then about your starting points with Survivor Pools. Like, what do you do to maybe take a step back and just flat out assess everything?
I like to ask myself 3 questions before the pool even starts. How sharp is this pool? Are there professional bettors in this pool? Or is this just like an office pool, friends and family type thing? That's going to very much impact my strategy once I know who this pool is made up with. Number 2, how likely is this pool to make it to the end? If there's 10,000 people in this pool, much better chance of it making it to the end if there's 15 to 20 or something like that. So that's going to be important for strategy moving forward. And then 3, what are the nuances of this pool? At the beginning of this video, I talked about how these things are pretty straightforward. You just pick a winner, but different pools do have different rules. Some pools have a rebuy feature up until a certain point. Don't be that guy in your pool in week 3 that's like, oh, I didn't know this was a rebuy tournament. Also, keep in mind, sometimes there's a separate week involved in the Survivor Pool, depending on the rules. Make sure that ties actually lose in your Survivor Pool. Don't have all your hopes and dreams pinned on one team. It's the 4th quarter. This game's going into overtime. And then you're looking at the fine print of your pool, trying to figure out, do ties lose in overtime? Make sure you know the rules. It's really important.
So how about once the season finally begins and you are going at this thing week to week, what are you doing or what are you looking at to determine which teams you're actually going to pick?
3 big things. 1 is the win percentage, and you can go over to oddshark.com and use their odds calculator. Punch the money lines in for a particular game to get the win probability. Don't use the point spreads. Point spreads are misleading, and you know, Ninja, you can see 2 games that have a 7-point spread, and the money lines are very different. So I like to stick to the money lines in these situations. 2, the popularity percentage. How popular do I think a team is going to be? I like my teams to be as less popular as possible. I don't want to be on a team that 80% of the pool has moving forward. And 3, this is very important. What is the future value of that team? You want to save good teams toward the end, but what if you're saving a really good playoff team and they play 5 really good playoff teams the last 5 weeks of the season, and it's just coin flip, coin flip, coin flip? Their future value isn't as good as opposed to a weaker team that has a really soft schedule to finish out the season. So before I pick a team, I'm always asking myself, what is their future value looking ahead?
So earlier in this video, you mentioned tools that are out there that can potentially help people. Where can people look, or what tools can people get to help them in their Survivor Pools?
Well, the NFL schedule, of course, is the biggest tool you need, but I like it in the form of a grid. Some people call it a map, just like you see behind me. It's essentially an Excel version, a Microsoft Excel version of the NFL schedule, but you want to get a better one than the one behind me. You want to get one that's interactive, and you can find these over at survivorgrid.com. Survivor Atlas has a great one. And what I mean by interactive is you can sort the columns by the biggest favorites. So you can very easily click each week, see which week has the biggest favorites. Once you pick a team, it'll put a line through it horizontally so that team's not available for you for the rest of the grid, just like it's not available to you for the rest of the season in the contest. So this tool is very helpful. It's important. Highly, highly recommended. Do not go into a Survivor pool without a Survivor grid. Number 2, ownership percentage. This is usually tracked by the pool that is doing the software that's doing the pool. It'll tell you, for instance, the Atlanta Falcons have 36%. That means 36% of the pool has Atlanta left. Very valuable information as you move forward, because like I said earlier, you want to be on an island as often as possible. So you always want to monitor how much this availability is for each team.
So learning that survivor pools are much, much more than, I like teams A, B, C, D, and E this week. What sort of strategies are out there for potential survivor pool players?
Well, there's a lot of advice on the internet about when you're building your roadmap for the season, when you're using this grid, start with the last week of the season. I disagree with that a little bit. I like the idea of it because you're going to find yourself on a different path than most people because most people start with the front of the season. But Ninja, I actually like to avoid week 18 altogether in my planning process because you get me to week 18, I can hedge in that situation. I'm going to be a happy guy. You get me to week 18, I can handicap myself out of a gnarly week 18. And we don't know who's going to be resting starters week 18 because they've locked up a playoff spot. So I actually like to look at it as a week 1 through 17 problem. Get me to week 18, I'll figure out the rest later. I also like to identify the week that is going to be the gnarliest. Like I said, go to your survivor grid, click the column that organizes it by biggest favorites. And when you find a week that doesn't have a ton of big favorites, maybe you want to start there to build your entire roadmap around that sort of linchpin. This week, week 10, week 10 seems like that kind of week for me. Everybody also has their different survivor rules. I won't pick any games where there's a divisional game. I won't pick any road teams, for instance. I like to have a little bit of flexibility in my rules. I have some rules too, but you also don't want to be so close-minded that you end up losing your survivor pool because you didn't want to break one of your own rules. And you want to zig while other people zag. You want to be a bit contrarian, especially in the larger pools with more people. Now, when there's only 10 or 15, 20, 50 people left, that's when you want to be a little bit chalky. But in the big pools, zig while other people zag.
There you go. Tips, tricks, and strategy to help you in your NFL survivor pools. Tony, thank you so much.
Thank you.